figure it out. So, welcome everyone. I am Jacqueline Morosco of Spirited Practice. And for today's practice, I'm going to invite you to have maybe a couple blocks or something you can use like blocks or a strap, a blanket or bolster, or a second rolled up mat. And after you gather your stuff, please take a comfortable seat, or if you're more comfortable, you can lie down. And start to focus on your breath. So you might have your hands on your body as you breathe, like one hand on your chest and one hand on your lower abdominals as you're breathing. And for our breath today, I want you to see if you can include your whole body as you breathe without overexerting yourself, right? So breathing in slowly, gently, and noticing the sensations in your body as you're breathing. And today before I started recording, we talked about working on the whole body and specifically the back. So for the next couple of breaths, just take a moment to check in with your back body. How is your back body feeling? And as many of you have heard me say, all the parts are intimately connected, but especially the back and the front of the body, right? And how does the front of your body feel, right? So checking in with your body and thinking about how you want to feel when we're done with practice today. And so setting your intention, and then when you're ready, releasing your hands. And I'm going to invite you as we move through practice today to see if you can still breathe with your whole body. Now, let's start off, and you could do this with a block, or you could do it with, like, if you have a folding chair or a step stool or something like that. We're going to inhale and sweep the arms up in line with the ears. Exhale, come forward to a child pose-like position, but we're not going to come down all the way to the floor. Inhale, sweep the arms forward. Exhale, hands to the low back and forehead to something, right? And we want to land on something so that you're just not floating in the air, although if that's the way it needs to be, then that's how it is. Inhale up, exhale down. And one more time. Now when you come up this time, we're going to move whatever it is that we have in front of us. We'll make our way onto our hands and knees. And I want you to pause here for a moment. I know some of us like to quickly move from thing to thing, but I want you to actively engage those lower abdominals. And I know I say it almost every time we get together, but I want you to see if you can feel them because they work together, right? So we want the lower abdominals to support the low back. And then you'll connect with your breath. And then the inhale is going to be in tabletop, exhale down to child's pose. And we're going to do this a few times. So continuing to work with your breath. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, child's pose. And you're noticing how do your shoulders feel, your back body, your neck, your hips, as you're moving. Now this one last time, you're going to come down towards your child's pose, and you might keep those arms extended out in front. You're still connected with your breath. I want you to make your way up onto your fingertips, and you're going to reach your forehead towards the ground, and it may or may not come to the ground. So you're stretching through your shoulders, but making sure that as you're reaching your wrist towards the sky and you're up on your fingertips, that you're not creating more tension in the neck or the upper shoulders, right? Still breathing. Now, keeping yourself on your fingertips without putting too much weight in your hands, you're going to inhale up into your tabletop position. Walk your right hand to center. And you could come up onto a block too if it's causing any stress. And you're going to inhale one arm up, let's say the left arm up since your right hand's at center, exhale down. And you may not come up that far, it might just be a little bit, right? Inhale up, exhale down. This is an exploration. Think of it like an experiment. You are seeing what feels good in your body, right? Moving with your breath. The inhale is arm lifting, exhale down. Now we're going to switch sides the next time you come down. And if you just started, you move at your own pace. So left hand to center, you're on the fingertips or on a block. Inhale, arm up, right arm up, exhale down. And your eyes might follow the moving hand if that feels good in your head, neck, and shoulders. Now again, the next time that you come down to the floor with your right hand, we're going to take our hands about shoulder distance apart. And I want you to look down at your hands for a moment and point your index fingers towards the edge of your mat. And then you're going to engage your fingers. And you're going to try to lift the center of your hand. Right? So we're engaging the hands a little bit differently. Now, you're going to bring your left knee slightly to center. Those lower abdominals are still engaged. And we're going to lift up the right leg and flex the foot. And then you're going to bend the knee and gently press up towards the sky. And of course, this is not a huge movement, right? And it's just a gentle pulse. We're going to bring that right knee down kind of to center. Straighten out the left leg, flex the foot, bend the knee, and again, a gentle pulse up towards the sky. And of course, all this time, you're still breathing. Carefully taking that knee down to the ground one more time into our child's pose as we exhale. Shifting your hips over to the right, walking your hands over to the left. Still breathing, long, smooth breaths. Some of you might like to inhale up to a tabletop and exhale down at an angle. And some of you might like to stay down, okay? Making your way back through the center. And then we're going to move to the second side. So don't forget to shift your hips as you walk your hands and arms over to the right. And again, you can stay towards the ground, or you can inhale up to a tabletop and exhale down at an angle. Always, asking your body, oh, sweet body, what do you want, right? Now, on one of these inhales, we're going to make our way through the center. And this time, I want you to come onto your forearms. And again, you're going to extend your fingers out with the index fingers pointing towards the edge. And this time, and this might be an experiment too, isn't life an experiment lately? You're going to walk out your legs and we're going to do a little plank, okay? So option here would be to have your knees down. So one of the things we don't want to do in plank, we don't want to just let our abdominals go, right? So you're going to engage those lower abdominals if you take your knees off the ground. Then gently take your knees down and then your hips. So now we're in a Sphinx pose, and I want you to gently move your hips side to side, kind of loosen up your butt a little bit. And while we're here, notice your chest. And without necessarily making any physical movements, I want you to think, like about opening your chest forward. Notice what's happening in your rib cage, your diaphragm. Still breathing. Now, if it's appropriate for your body, you're going to turn your toes under and lift your hips and legs up again, or you're going to come up onto your knees, right? Lifting your hips still, but you're on your knees, or you're going to have straight legs. You're going to see what feels appropriate for you. And then again, gently taking those knees down to the ground. You're going to walk yourself back into our last child's pose for now. And maybe wrap your arms around your legs. Relax and breathe. Long, smooth breaths. And when you're ready, let's make our way up. If you still have your socks on like me, you can take them off. And we're going to step forward with our left foot so that we're in a modified lunge here, right? So your knees down on the ground, your right knee's down on the ground, your left knee is over the left ankle. You could have blocks under your hands if appropriate for you. And what I want you to notice is as you have that left foot forward, what's happening in your hips and your hip flexors and your low back, right? And make sure that that back knee is behind your hip and not directly under your hip. So you're going to walk that right knee back a little bit, again, if appropriate for your body. And then we're going to start to straighten the left leg and flex the foot. And some of you might take your body down towards that leg, and you might stay in that position for a breath, or you might want to move back and forth, straightening and bending your left leg. Right? So you are doing what feels good in your body, right? And gently stretching, still breathing, and noticing where your body wants to go, right? Now, the next time that your knee comes over your ankle, we're going to keep our right hand on the block or the ground, left hand onto the thigh, gentle twist towards the inner thigh. And again, seeing if you can send your breath into whatever body parts are calling for extra attention, right? Now I want you to notice where your weight is. We want most of our weight to be in our feet, so if you notice yourself putting all your weight into your right hand, seeing if you can shift it into your legs. And on your next exhale, we're going to turn the body back towards the ground. Carefully step your left leg back, and we're going to bring the right leg forward. And again, taking your time as we transition and seeing, how does it feel to step that right foot forward, the knee is over the ankle, your left knee is behind the hip, so you're opening up the front of that hip flexor. You're breathing, noticing what's happening in your body, and then whenever you're ready, you may start to straighten that leg, the right leg, and flex the foot. You might bring your body towards the leg. You're going to move always in a way that's appropriate for you. And you'll notice as I move front and back, I'm taking the blocks with me. It gives me more room. And, if you might not want blocks, and you might not have blocks, and you might just keep your hand on your thigh, right? But always doing what works for you. Now, again, the next time your right knee is over the ankle, or you might walk yourself to that position, we're going to keep the left hand on the floor on the block, right hand onto the thigh. Gentle twist, belly towards the inner thigh, long, smooth breaths. And again, you're gonna notice where your weight is as you're here. So weight in the legs, right? Taking the weight out of the left hand, and it's still connected to the floor of the block. You're just having your weight in your legs. Continuing to breathe. On an exhale, we're going to turn back towards the floor. And here, you're going to bring your front foot to a place that is safe. Turn your back toes under. We're going to come up into a lunge and then step that back foot forward. So here we are in our first, standing forward bend. Hands are on the legs. And we're going to start to make our way up slowly. So you're going to inhale halfway up and exhale into your legs. Moving with your breath, inhale halfway up, exhale into your legs. A couple more times with your breath. Now, next inhale, or whenever you're ready, you're going to slide all the way up. And then once you come up to your standing position, I just want you to roll through your shoulders. So inhale, shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, slide them down the back body. Moving with your breath. Some of you might like to do one shoulder at a time. Again, exploring what feels good in your body. Eventually coming to a place where we stop rolling through the shoulders. And I want you to walk your feet a little bit wider than your hips, and your feet are parallel, hands are on the outside of the legs. And today, again, I don't know why I have experiments on my mind. Must be that scientist part of me. But I want you to see, I want you to start with small movements, right? So we do this movement often. Inhale, center, exhale, slide down your leg. I want you to slide down a little bit. Inhale up, exhale, slide down a little bit. So you can definitely go further, but we're not, right? I want you to go just a little bit, and we're gonna alternate side to side. And then after one or two times moving in a little bit, you're gonna go a little bit more, right? And I know that little bit isn't, decisive, because you're going to do what is appropriate for you. But you're gonna deepen every one or two times if you want to. And then you might start to lift up the outside hand as you slide up, but again, not going, I really want you to not go for the deepest movement you can make, right? We're starting off a little bit more slowly in this movement, a little less deep, and then deepening as we move through. Now, if you want to start to bring your vision up towards that lifted shoulder and elbow, you can add that in as well. Keeping your hands on your body, and again, not going for all that we can do. Now, the next two times, go as deeply as you want to, because we're going to do 2 times on either side once more. And then pausing, noticing how you feel. Like I noticed, I have interesting, texture on my pants today, and so that stimulated my palms in a different way. So just noticing what you're feeling in your body. And then I want you to bend your knees, and you're gonna come into a mini chair position. So the feet are still a little bit wide, right? Knees are bent. You release at the hips a little bit, so your butt is sticking out a little bit. Hands where it's comfortable. I have my hands on the thighs. And you're gonna keep breathing. Now, I want you to isometrically pull your feet in towards the center, right? So you're stimulating those abductors, right? Trying to pull your thighs in towards one another. And then I want you to come up onto your left toes. So just one foot, right? And then bring that heel down, and then the second side, right? Not a quick movement. It takes inhale up, exhale, heel down. Second side, inhale, heel up, exhale down. One more time on each side. And I know it's a little bit different, right? Now you're going to, of course, if it's safe, shift your hips onto the padded part of both feet, lifting the heels up, right? And then you might want to sink in your hips a little bit more. You're going to keep breathing and notice how your body feels. Now on one of these exhales, you're going to take the heels down, slide down your legs into a forward bend. And you might have your hands on your legs, or you might hold on to your elbows, let your head and shoulders release a little bit, and ever so gently moving side to side. Still breathing. You might bend your knees, as you move to one side, just exploring. Eventually, we're going to come through the center, release the elbows, and inhale, slide up. Pausing for a moment. And then let's bring our hands onto our hips. And I want you to, I get all these images in my head, but I want you to reach your hips over to the right, and then you're going to take them back over to the left and forward. So we're making a circle, a slow circle with the hips to the right. One more time. Then we're going to pause when we're forward and move to the left. And as you're doing this, again, noticing where do you feel sensation? Do you find yourself holding your breath? Are you still breathing as easily? One last time. And when you make your way to the front, we're going to pause again. And this time, if you have a block, and if it sounds inviting to you, you're going to take that block and put it between your thighs. And some things that you could use if you don't have a block, you could use a rolled up mat, you could use a smaller pillow, a foam roller that's not too long. We're going to pull in towards the center with the thighs. So you're holding on to that block. Your hands can be on your hips or on your thighs, whatever, again, feels good. And I want you to, again, come up onto the toes of the left foot. We're just going to shift side to side. And let's just do it twice. It's going to be a little bit different with the block between our legs. Then we're going to come up onto the padded part of both feet, right? So your knees are bent a little bit, your hips are probably bent a little bit, your hands on your thighs or your hips or at your heart center, and where the heels are lifted, possibly, and you're going to come into a balanced chair position. Keep breathing, long, smooth breaths, still breathing. And then gently take those heels to the ground, slide into your forward bend with your hands on your legs. Inhale, slide all the way up. Still holding on to that block. Now we're going to inhale, take the arms up in line with the ears, and exhale, sit into a chair with our feet flat on the ground. We're not lifting the heels this time. Inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, sit into your chair, and your head, your vision stays forward, right? We're not following the hands with the eyes. Moving with your breath. One more time. And this time we're going to stay in our chair position. We're going to bring the hands down onto the tops of the thighs and press into the thighs. I always say, like you're trying to pull your thighs away from your torso. And for the next few breaths, I want you to focus on those lower abdominals. You could even take one hand onto your lower abdominals. Inhale, expand the lower abdominals and the diaphragm. Exhale, gently contract. So you're doing what your breath naturally does. You're just enhancing that a little bit. Why do we do this? Because it helps to strengthen those lower abdominals, which helps to support our back body. One more breath. On your inhale, release, let it go. And we're going to take that block down onto the floor. Now, always an option here. You can choose for this next pose to have your feet on the floor, or you can center your left foot on your block, if you have a block, and come up with your weight on the left foot. So now your right foot is off the floor and maybe flexed. And you could do this so that you're close to a chair or a sofa or a wall. And then keeping your focus, you have, your non-moving spot in front of you, down on the floor maybe that you're looking at. And you're gonna start to bend that right knee and lift it up. Keep breathing. Continue to breathe. Now, ever so slowly, we're going to bring that right foot down. It's still hovering over the ground. It would be absolutely okay if you bent the left knee and put it on the floor, right? We're going to lift it up one more time. Right knee forward, foot is flexed. Keep breathing. Find your focus. Whenever you're ready, ever so slowly, we're going to bring that right foot down to the floor, step off of the block, and pause for a moment. And if you happen to have a tennis ball close by, it would be a great time to roll through that left foot. It also gives us a little reprieve, right? So connect with your breath, notice how you're feeling, rolling through that left foot. And if you don't have a tennis ball, maybe you're just standing there, breathing, noticing how you're feeling. Now we're going to put that tennis ball to a safe place. And now we're going to, if you're using the block, put your right foot, center it on your block, step up very carefully, always paying attention. Now, some options here, if you don't have a block, you could use a big book, you could even have a tennis ball just under your heel. And then carefully, we're going to start to flex the left foot, hands wherever it supports you, and then as you're ready, bending that left knee and lifting it up. And it doesn't matter how high you lift it, right? The main thing is that we're disconnecting that foot from the floor and lifting it up a little bit, right? So you could do this with your feet flat on the ground as well. Now we're going to carefully bring that left foot back down towards the floor, maybe letting it hover, and then when you're ready, slowly starting to bend the left knee again, lifting it up, still breathing. Breathing is key here, and always. And when you're complete, carefully taking your left foot down to the ground, you're gonna step off the block, find your tennis ball again, and roll the tennis ball under the right foot. And again, check in. How's that feeling? Was it a little bit fun and exciting? Or not so much? How's your breathing? All right, so when you start to feel complete rolling your foot, you can place the tennis ball in a safe place. We're gonna come back to the front of our mat. And I think what I want us to do, so you're towards the front of the mat, let's have our hands down at the sides, and you're going to inhale your arms up in line with your ears and exhale the arms down. You can keep your feet flat or come up onto your toes. And you're moving with your breath and noticing how this feels. So we don't, you might not think about this very often, but as soon as we extend those arms, we're doing a little bit of a back bend, right? So paying attention to how that feels in your body. Now, next time your feet come down and your arms are at your side, you're going to take the hands onto the thighs. Inhale, body up. Exhale, slide down your legs. Let's do this a few times. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale into your legs. One more time. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale into your legs. You're going to bring your hands to the floor. Step back into a plank for just a moment. And then bring yourself into a down dog and pedal through your feet. Okay, some options here. You could be on your elbows instead of your hands. You could also be in child's pose, tabletop, and stretching your legs out. And now from here, I want you to lift your right leg up towards the sky. And on the inhale, you're going to come forward into a plank. Reach that knee towards your elbow. And exhale, straighten it out. Kind of fun. Let's do this 2 or 3 times. Or you can just be in child's pose, right? And then after your 3rd time, we'll take the right foot down. Lift your left leg up. And here, we're not opening up the hip, right? Although you might want to do that and then close it down again. Inhale as you reach forward with the left knee towards the left elbow. Exhale, extend. 2, 3. And then that foot comes down and you can either gently hop or walk your feet forward. Hands come onto your legs. Inhale, slide halfway up, and exhale into your legs. Now after your next exhale, we're going to come into little squat. Okay, so you could have a blanket under your heels, a block under your butt. It's a great time to check in, right? How is that back body feeling? And then your hands, I want you to notice where you want to put your hands, right? So sometimes you put them at the forehead or the heart center or on the floor. And I want you to think about your back being a little bit rounded, chin towards the chest, long, smooth breaths. It's a great time to check in. How is my back body feeling? And if there's any tension in your back body still, I want you to imagine like a duck in the water. Any tension just kind of gliding down your back body and seeping down into the earth. So if you feel some tension, like you take a nice deep breath here, you notice any tension, just inviting it to move right out of your body and down into the earth. Now, whenever you are ready, we're going to carefully make our way into a seated position and extend the legs out. And let's have the legs in a wide angle, but not like the widest angle you could do. Like if you wanted to take your legs out a little bit wider, you could. And your feet are flexed. Some of you might like to move the muscle of your thighs out of the way so the sits bones come closer to the ground. You're sitting up nice and tall so the shoulders are over the hips. Some of you might even have a little bend in your knees, right? So you're finding a place that feels good. Hands are on the legs. Inhale, body upright. Exhale, you're gonna slide down your leg as deeply as it feels comfortable. Inhale up, second side. So we're gonna do it one more time on either side. And then after the second time on the second side, we're gonna change it up. So you're gonna stretch up that left arm. So now inhale's gonna be up here. Exhale, you're gonna reach that left hand towards the right leg. Inhale up, Switch sides. And you're moving with your breath. One more time on each side. And then you'll pause. Now, from here, I want you to bend your knees so the feet are still wider than your hips. Knees are bent. You're going to take your hands to the inner legs or the top of the legs. Inhale up, exhale, slide down your legs. Your chin comes towards your chest. I like to hold on to my big toes, but you hold on to wherever it's comfortable. Long, smooth breaths. On an inhale, let's bring yourself up. We're going to bring the right foot in towards the body, or you can keep it extended, right? It's going to depend on how it feels. The left leg is bent and the foot is flexed, and you're holding on to the knee and the foot. We're going to gently rock it. Some of you might like to, cradle it, but again, going for comfort, no forcing things today. Right now, making sure you're stable in your seat, we're going to straighten that leg, right? So we're going to bend and straighten. So you could do this with a strap. You could do it holding on to your thigh or your calf or your foot. We're just going to bend and straighten. And the next time that knee is bent, we're going to take that foot on the floor and reach for the other flexed foot and knee and gently rock. And you're still breathing, noticing how your wonderful body is feeling, coming to a place where we stop and then bending and straightening your second leg. As I said earlier, it's always, an exploration and experiment. Like, what feels good in my body? And if it doesn't feel good, we don't do it. Now, when the next time that your leg is bent, we're going to take the bottoms of the feet and put them together so that we have a nice big diamond here. So your feet are not close to your groin area. Hands can be on the top or underneath the legs. We're going to inhale up and exhale into a long forward bend. Long, smooth breaths. Noticing how your body feels and only moving to a depth that feels good. And I know I repeat that a lot, and it's really important. Now on an inhale, you're going to bring yourself up. And how I'd like to be, and depending on what you have available to you, I have a rolled mat, which I'm going to use under my head and my back body. Hips are going to stay on the ground, and I have blocks that are going to go under my knees because I'm going to put the bottoms of my feet together. So the blankets or bolster or rolled mat go to the low back, butts on the floor. The blocks are going to be set up to support my legs so that they can be in what we call bound angle, Baddha Konasana, with the bottoms of the feet together. Now, if you don't like any aspect of this, you make it what works for you, right? Carefully bringing yourself down onto whatever support you have, arms on the ground or on your body. And as you get yourself set up, you want to make sure the chin isn't poking towards the ceiling. So if your head is falling off whatever you have underneath your spine, you want to put something under there so that your head is level with your body. Make sure that there's no overstretching in the groin area. Long, smooth breaths. And just like we did, once you get settled in, right, so check in, is there anything else you need to do to make this more comfortable? And then once you get yourself comfortable, I want you to focus on your diaphragm, right? So just like we did when we were in chair position, I want you to inhale and expand the diaphragm and the lower abdominals. And then as you exhale, because now we have gravity working with us, right? Exhale, you're going to invite your lower abdominals and the diaphragm towards the back body. Again, not forcing anything, enhancing what the body naturally does. Inhale, expand. Exhale, slowly, so it's not a sucking in your belly, right? It's a slow, gentle pulling in of the muscles. Whenever your natural inhale comes, you expand again. And then exhale, inviting those muscles to come in. Let's do it 2 more times. And of course, if your body is done doing it, you just stop whenever, right? Now, after that second time, you're going to let your breath go to its normal rhythm and pattern. And this would be a great time to check in with your body and your breath. Now, some of you might like to just stay as you are. Some of you on the inhale might like to take your arms overhead up in line with the ears, and exhale, bring them back down to your side bodies. So again, check in. Do I want to move some more? Do I want to, remain stationary? And if you're not sure, try it and see which feels better in this moment. So if you are moving your arms on the next exhale, pause with your arms at your side or on your body. Long, smooth breaths. Now you can stay as you are with your knees open, or you can bring your left knee towards your right knee and turn your head to the left. Long, smooth breaths. If you're twisted on the inhale, we'll bring the head and knees to the center, and then exhale, knees to the left and head to the right. Again, inhale coming through the center. And this is the time where I want you to check in with your body and decide if you need anything else you need to do anything else with your body before you move into Shavasana. And if so, you're going to do that. And if not, asking yourself, how do you want to be for Shavasana? And remember, in Shavasana, corpse pose, or final relaxation, as some like to call it, you want to be warm and comfortable so that you can move to a deep, still place and integrate what we did in our practice energetically, physically, So always an exploration, what does my body need right now? And if you're not sure, you explore, experiment. And when you eventually do come into that still, quiet space, checking in and making sure that you are as comfortable as you can be. If you find your mind wandering, focusing on the breath, Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrijoma Amritam Gamaya. So if you feel the need, the desire to stay in Shavasana a little bit longer, I invite you to do so. If you would like to sit up, I thought that it might be nice for this practice today to do a little call and response with that chant. So this chant that I just said, it's called Asatoma. And what it says is, please lead me from darkness to light, actually it says from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, and from mortality to immortality. And it's a great chant to work on breathing, and so you can pay attention to what's happening in your body. So I'll say a part of a line, and then I'll repeat it, and you can join in with me. So you listen, and then you repeat. Asatoma, Asatoma, Satgamaya, Satgamaya, Tamasoma, Tamasoma, Jyotirgamaya, Jyotirgamaya, Mrijoma, Mrijoma, Amritam Gamaya, Amritam Gamaya. And let's do an Om all together. Om. So may you be led from untruths to truths, from darkness to light, and from mortality to immortality, and whatever those things mean to you. Namaste.